You know that feeling, right? That little knot in your stomach, a mix of excitement and total dread right before you introduce your new partner to your best friends. Yeah, we've all been there. It's kind of become the ultimate relationship hurdle. We'll call it the squad approval test. But here's a wild thought. What if your friend's final verdict has almost nothing to do with your partner and everything to do with a hidden psychological bias that most groups fall into? What if the problem isn't the person you're dating, but a glitch in how your friends think together?
To really get this, we have to zoom out for a second and look at something much bigger: the modern loneliness epidemic. I mean, look at this number. A full 79% of Gen Z adults say they feel lonely. And this isn't just a feeling, it's a huge structural shift that's changing the game for our social lives. So, why is this happening? Well, here's the simple version. We're losing our third places. It's a term a sociologist came up with for all those spots that aren't home, that's your first place, or work, your second place. Think coffee shops, parks, gyms, the places that used to be the bedrock of community life.
And when these places start to disappear, our social worlds get really, really small. All of that need for connection and community, it gets funneled into one tiny, super concentrated group, our core friends, our squad.
Now, this is where it gets fascinating. There's this concept called friendfluence. It's all about the secret, invisible ways our friends shape us. They aren't just people we hang out with. As the author Carlin Flora puts it, they are stealth sculptors of, well, everything about us.
And that is exactly why the squad approval test feels so life or death important. In a world with fewer and fewer social options, our friends become the main gatekeepers. Getting their stamp of approval has turned into this massive, essential ritual for any new relationship.
You know, there's actually a pretty brilliant strategy behind why we do these tests at a bowling alley or a board game cafe. It's because activities are the perfect vetting round. You see how someone acts under a little bit of pressure, you see how they treat the staff, you see them when they're not on. It's a really low-stakes way to collect some seriously high-stakes information. So it all sounds like a pretty solid system, doesn't it? Your friends, the people who know you best, giving you their honest take. But what happens when that incredible supportive squad of yours gets it completely, totally wrong? Well, let's explore this hidden pattern called groupthink. It's a weird psychological trap where a group's need to agree with each other becomes way more important than actually being right. The desire for harmony literally short-circuits their ability to think critically.
So, how do you spot this in your own friend group? Well, here are the big red flags. First, an illusion of invulnerability. This feeling that your squad's opinion is just fact. Then you'll see self-censorship, where someone who disagrees just stays quiet to not make waves. If someone does speak up, they get shut down. And finally, that silence gets misinterpreted as everyone agreeing. And at that point, your friend group stops being a collection of smart individuals and just becomes an echo chamber. Suddenly, disagreeing with the group doesn't feel like a simple difference of opinion. It feels like you're being disloyal. Okay, now what almost nobody talks about is what's physically happening inside your brain when this goes down. Your brain literally registers your squad's disapproval as a real, genuine threat. The rational part of your brain, the bit that's trying to weigh the pros and cons of your partner, actually powers down. Meanwhile, your social, emotional brain, it lights up like a Christmas tree. You are literally wired to choose the group over your own clear judgment.
So that's the pickle, right? How do you manage this without torching your friendships on one side or sabotaging a potentially great relationship on the other?
Okay, there is a way through this, and it's a simple, doable framework. Just 3 steps. First, assess your infrastructure. Second, audit your squad. And third, and this one's key, integrate, don't abdicate.
All right, step 1, assess your infrastructure. This just means you have to deliberately go out and build more third places for yourself. Join a running club, take a pottery class, become a regular at a new coffee shop. When you get opinions from more than just your one core group, it naturally dilutes their power and gives you a much healthier perspective. Step 2, you gotta audit your squad. And you can do this by actively trying to break the groupthink. Before everyone meets your new partner, pull one friend aside and tell them their only job is to be the devil's advocate, to intentionally look for the good things. This just helps to kickstart a real debate instead of letting everyone fall into an easy consensus. And finally, step 3, integrate, don't abdicate.
Your friends' opinions are super valuable data, but they are not the final decision. You listen, you consider what they're saying, but you have to remember, you're the one in the relationship. Handing over the final call to them isn't just unfair to you or your partner, it's not fair to your friends either. So look, the big takeaway here is not that you should ignore your friends. Of course not. The goal is to understand all these hidden forces, the disappearing social spaces, the power of friendfluence, the trap of groupthink, so you can filter their feedback and make a choice that is clear, confident, and 100% yours.
But all of this kind of leads to a much deeper question, doesn't it? Is the real problem that we just don't have enough places to hang out anymore? Or is it that we're missing a very specific kind of connection that modern life has made almost impossible to find?
We're going to dig into that very question in our next explainer, where we get into the science of something called platonic intimacy. It might just be the key to solving our modern connection crisis, and maybe the secret to building better, healthier relationships of every kind.
If this touched your heart, please subscribe, like, and share it with your family. Save this for more meaningful content ahead.